welcome back to the first STtalks episode of 2022. I'm Laura Demmer, your host, and today I am here with Aaron Henderson, STgenetics Western Region Manager, who will be talking about ST's Jersey program. But first, I just wanted to thank you, Aaron, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So to start, how would you describe the Jersey market within the U.S. right now? What are people currently looking for?
Yeah, the Jersey market is so different than a Holstein market would be. So we have different segments within the Jersey breed. We have our commercial herds that look for cheese merit and really focused on the health traits. And then we have a second segment that's focused on JPI because they've felt for a long time that index is the most profitable for them. And then last but not least, we have a big segment of people who are looking, directly at cow families and sire stacks. And a lot of these individuals could be breeding for production or even to have a barn full of animals that are, ready to go out on the colored shavings.
Right, just a lot of different subdivisions within one big market.
Yeah.
So with that, just focusing that into ST a little bit more, let's have you just tell us about the history of STgenetics Jersey program, some of the sires who have stood the test of time, and a bit on how we have developed and grown our sire lineup into what it is today.
Yeah, thank you. So ST has had a great history in the Jersey breed, beginning with bulls from cow families like the M family from Wilson View in Tillamook, Oregon. The bull was Wilson View Javon Magnum. He was ranked at one time as the number one JPI bull and marketed in conjunction with other studs, although he was developed here at ST. He has a huge impact on pedigrees in our current sire lineups and continues to influence production and udders throughout the Jersey breed. The other one that made a large impact in the early days was Legal Promise from the Pixie family at Harwarden Jerseys in Weston, Idaho. Known for their high Jersey udder index and production, and a family that was able to cross over between the show ring and production. And then finally, as far as some of the bulls back that kind of launched everything, would be the influence of tequila on the colored shavings and the many accolades that he's had on the show winners globally. For a relatively young company, ST has influenced the Jersey breed in a lot of ways. And as we move forward, let's think about Got Made, who is bred, by Eric Silva at Sunset Canyon from Cloverdale, Oregon. To me, Got Made has had some of the most influence in the Jersey breed since a bull, which many Jersey breeders will recognize, Mason Boomer Sooner Beretta, who continues to not only impact our breed from when he was a genomic sire, but now with thousands of daughters milking and, proof after proof improving cheese merit, JPI, overall production, he's still a sire of sons when one of his sons is now proven in Jiggy, still influencing the breed everywhere.
So that's a lot of growth from start to where we are now. Where do you see this growth in our Jersey program coming from? Is it our genetics? Is it technology? Is it the growth of the breed? What are your takes on that?
I think you encompassed everything. We have ownership in our own females that we are able to use the technology of chromosomal mating to look at the best ways to mate some of these females we have. If you look at some of our current sire stacks of top JPI or cheese merit bulls, they're Jiggies out of Got Made. And we just mentioned that Jiggy is a Got Made son. but we're able to look at the inbreeding efficiencies and some of the other traits within our mating program to know that these matings are good and will move forward in bringing the population of jerseys to increase both production and fats and proteins. And then just our overall involvement. We're willing to look at free agent bulls and purchase those and bring them into stud. Also working with Transover Genetics, which we have, a few bulls already in our lineup, but we will be adding many more as they have developed their own family lines, and we continue to use those to strengthen our own personal program.
Great. Just touching back on those subdivisions of the market that you had mentioned earlier. Our current Jersey sire portfolio, there's a little bit of everything for everyone. But first, can you touch on some of our high JPI highlighted sires?
Yeah. So we currently have 5 sires over 140 JPI, starting with 551 JE, 1862 Victor, followed by 1829 Jalapeno, 1828 Ventis, 1796 Suavecito, and 1798 Sugar Daddy. 4 of these 5 are Jiggy sons. And again, Jiggy influencing quite a bit. 2 of these bulls, real quickly, I'd love to talk a little bit more about.
Of course.
The first, Jalapeno, he comes from Forest Glen, from the Banson family in Dayton, Oregon. This bull goes back to a bull Halves Beretta Jade that in her day was known to have the greatest rear udder in the breed and was used to make sons for a long time to influence not only production, but an improvement in udder traits. So having this in the pedigree and combining that with Jiggy, we have really a complete pedigree. He checks the box on milk. He checks the box on components. He checks the box on udders. And then the dairy strength is just phenomenal. So to me, Jalapeno is really a must-use sire and a sire that we're using as a sire as sons. The second bull is Sugar Daddy, and his sire stack includes bulls like Chrome and Venerable. And then a little talked about bull that today, Mercedes, that comes from another one of the great Berettas of the time with high fat. And this pedigree just screams udders and production, and then combined with solid health traits. So we're very solid when it comes to our JPI bulls in the top, 20 in the industry.
Right. We have a good handful that are right up there with the best of them. So that's fantastic.
Exactly.
So can you touch a little bit on what you first mentioned, cheese merit and health traits?
I certainly can. So, a lot of our larger commercial herds really focus on milk density and they want to ship as many solids as possible. And when you have these bulls available to them that are, over 650 cheese merit, it really does influence purchasing by these customers. And when we talk about that huge number that people are looking at, over 700, we have bulls currently over 700. 2 of them are Jiggy sons, Jalapeno and Victor, Jiggy himself, and then Got Made. Followed that by that 650 or higher. We have again Sugar Daddy, Kellen, Gallantry, Viton, Tesley, uh, Suavecito, Knox, and predominantly Jiggy or Got Made are in these pedigrees. So we know that these high components are coming through the sires that we use to make sons or purchase sons. And then when we look at the overall development of these bulls, in the Jersey breed, it's interesting. We accept a little bit of negativity in the DPR. We know that production and DPR do not correlate for being both high. So we do sacrifice and look at bulls that are at that -1 or higher, and then high productive life with somatic cell scores below that 3. And these bulls all, for the most part, check those boxes, other than the older bull that we continue to mention, Got Made, who is a slightly more negative in DPR, but we continue to see that improve with each proof run as daughters are added.
Right. So honestly, a very large portfolio for the type of caliber or for these caliber of sires that our larger herds are looking for.
Yeah, dare we say some of the most complete of any company for a portfolio.
Yes, I would agree. um, so I guess now touching on the opposite side of this spectrum, what are we seeing for the Jersey style sires for the ones that might make it to the colored shavings?
As I reflect on these style bulls, and what our lineup's like, predominantly tequila was that bull that, we had to sell for the colored shavings. And we all know how well tequila is done.
Right.
But today we have bulls like Kid Rock, Canadian Club, Ferdinand, and their impact is starting to create quite the buzz on social media as these calves are hitting the ground. A couple of the bulls that intrigued me personally, Canadian Club is a real early VIP son out of that showstopper chocolate chip, who continues to grow her notoriety within the industry. Calves are just hitting the ground, and the chatter on the internet is just crazy. The second bull is introduced from our friends down under, Ferdinand. And um, if you've had a passion for jerseys for any length of time, you've heard about the Fernleaf family from Bushlia in Australia and the impact that they've had, not only in the production world, but in the show ring. And they've dominated generation after generation with their Fernleaf family. And today, we have the opportunity to introduce that to our customers through a viral son, which is also from Bushlia, um, going back through that Fernley family. And for me, he's a must use because he outcrosses a little bit to a lot of the pedigrees we've used to create these animals to bring out to the show.
Right. And I think with those few that you had mentioned, Kid Rock, Canadian Club, Ferdinand, that really is an amazing style opportunity for those show herds. I mean, like you said, we've already seen some Kid Rocks on the color shavings that did phenomenal. And now with Canadian Club and Ferdinand just starting that. So very exciting for
I agree,
STgenetics.
Laura. Very excited.
So you've mentioned him a few times already, but do you want to just give us a little bit of a breakdown on the sire Jiggy? He's had some extremely successful past few genetic evaluations. Can you just tell us a little bit more about him in depth and what you see from him, both on the sire and daughter side?
I would love to. Jiggy, as we mentioned before, is the first proven got made son and continues to impact our sire lineup with sons and grandsons. Um, the amazing piece of Jiggy, he goes back to one of those influenced cows and even an influenced sire in BW Avery Katie from Brentwood Farms. Katie herself had many uh, genomic offerings of sires. But the unique thing about Katie is a lot of her sons were still marketable when they became proven for both high JPI and cheese merit. So when you think about trends that some of our customers are looking for, the Jersey people were adapt to changing quickly to genomic sires because we needed diversity. But then we also wanted to see how they developed and when they were proven if we could continue to use them. And here's a cow family that continues to produce those type of results. And I think that that will be passed on in the sons of Jiggy. Now it's interesting. The Jiggy daughters have had incredible dairy strength, very strong in the udder cleft, very wide rear udders, and I know if you look at his pedigree, you notice that he is marked as a little deep uttered. But we have to remember that most of our daughters are scored just as 2 year olds. We don't get results in the Jersey breed next lactation. So what do they look like? Well, second calf, the udder is still above the hocks. The body is starting to build around the udder, where you start to see a better connection of forudder because they have depth of body. And they seem to be the animals that are always in that top production group. And people just love them. They work hard, they're unnoticeable, but definitely a bull that we don't want to overlook and we want to continue to use.
Right, especially, the best type of cows are the ones that you don't know about. So that's great. So you had just kind of mentioned, you've mentioned earlier as well, but Jiggy does have a handful or more of sons in our program, and these all kind of have unique traits of their own. But do you just want to touch on a few of them that you really think are, going to be the next sire, the big Jersey sire in our program?
Yeah, yes. The first one, 1814, Telsey. He's 112 combined fat and protein and 671 cheese merit. A lot of great health traits. And his maternal line traces back to the Seals family of Sun Valley Farms or Sun Valley Jerseys. And when you think about that cow family or the cows from Sun Valley, you think of cows that are consistently great uddered with big frames, with flat ribs, and just produce milk while looking very good. The second bull that I think goes overlooked, and this is a kind of a weird statement to make. We at ST have this bull priced um, fairly high because of supply and demand. And I think that a lot of our customers will overlook this bull that's 790 cheese merit. The bull is Sexing Jig Victor, 551 JE 1862. And when you talk about, and you mentioned, Laura, that they can be different, this bull is very high JUI and has traits that are shallow uddered. His Jersey udder index is 11, and his type is 1.5. So as we look at the different Jiggy sons we have, he is so different, but still, again, the same because you're getting that high production with high yields of fat and protein.
Yes, I would say he strikes my interest when I look at our Jersey sire lineup every time. So, just to wrap up this Jersey ST talks, is there anything exciting coming down the pipeline for the genetic program?
Certainly, quite a few exciting bulls. Not to stir the call center up with calls on multiple bulls. I'd just like to talk about one and then kind of a general outlook. Um, the latest bull coming down the pipe is a gallantry son. His name is Big Jolt. He's 161 JPI, so he will be our highest ranking JPI bull, and he's 797 cheese merit, which again would be our highest ranking cheese merit bull. And he doesn't sacrifice type or udders. They're solid in both ways. And I mentioned gallantry because we have 5 gallantry sons coming up very soon. And here's some of the averages that are intriguing: 150 JPI average on 5 gallantry sons, 730 cheese merit, productive life of 5.5, and a DPR, as we discussed earlier, of a negative -0.4. And again, talking about balance, they average 8 on JUI and 1 on type. So it's going to really influence our program, but also give our customers a bull or bulls that they can use coming back on all these Jiggy sons that we currently have available.
Right. That is definitely some excitement that our producers can start looking for soon. Aaron, I just wanted to thank you for your time and for all the great information you shared with us today on the Jersey program.
It was my pleasure, Laura. Thank you very much.
This was another episode of ST Talks. If you like what you heard, you can tune into more episodes on your favorite podcast platform by searching ST Talks or ST Genetics.